At Christmas, we love to sing of little newborn baby Jesus sleeping away in a manger, not crying at all on a wonderfully silent night. It's all very peaceful, it's all very tranquil, it's all very quiet. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to a birth. Personally, I've only ever been to one birth. It was ages ago. I was way too young to even remember it. It was like 23 years ago or something. But what I'm told is that giving birth is quite a messy and quite a noisy affair. And what I'm also told is that newborn babies aren't amazingly great at sleeping and also aren't particularly good at not crying. And so this image that we have of that first Christmas night, the Nativity, as being this tranquil, silent, peaceful night is actually, like, to be honest, just quite ridiculous. Jesus was probably crying. I'm happy that Jesus was crying. It shows that he was a real human. That's a great thing. But this image that we have, this kind of pacified, overly peaceful picture of Jesus can sometimes continue in our minds even up to the adult Jesus in his adult ministry. And so we picture Jesus as this like overly like all loving, amazingly peaceful, wouldn't hurt a fly, meek and mild kind of guy. And then we get to passages like this, Matthew 15:21 to 28. And we see Jesus ignoring a woman who's crying out for help and calling her a dog. And we're like, what on earth is going on here? Who is this Jesus? And what have you done with the real Jesus? It just doesn't seem to fit that picture of Jesus that we have. There are so many cultural and contextual things that we need to be aware of with this passage. There's so many ways to explain what's going on here, and it's not as bad as we might first think, but to explain all of that in 5 minutes is just an impossible task. And so instead what I'm going to focus on is the faith and the persistence of this Canaanite woman. If you do have questions about the passage, if you are wondering, why does Jesus call her a dog? Why doesn't he help her immediately? What does it mean, I was sent only to the sheep of the house of Israel? Then please do come and ask us questions. We'd love to answer them, we'd love to help out. But the faith of the Canaanite woman, that her persistence is incredible. Even after Jesus says, I can't help you, you're a dog, she's still like, well, yes, but even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table. She just will not give up. She wants this healing, this exorcism of her daughter. She wants Jesus to save her daughter, to drive the demon out of her daughter, and she will not give up until she gets it. I think, in fact, the fact that she says, have mercy on me, Lord, son of David. Son of David is a Jewish term, a Jewish way of referring to Jesus, and she was a Canaanite woman. She wasn't Jewish. And so this shows that she has some kind of like understanding that Jesus was was first for the Jews. He was a Jewish person, and it wasn't typical for the Jews necessarily to interact in this way with Gentile people. But she also knows that the Jews are to be a blessing to all people. When God makes his promise with Abraham, he says, I'll bless you, I'll make Israel a great nation, and I'll bless you. But he also says, through you, I will bless all other people. And what we see with Jesus is that blessing of all other people, with his death on the cross, his death to the powers of sin and darkness, and his resurrection into new life that is open to all people, of all races, all creeds, all backgrounds. That promise that Abraham's descendants would bless all people comes true. But still, this Canaanite woman, she contends for it now. She says, yeah, perhaps at the moment, in that very specific time in history, there wasn't space for her at the table. There was just space for her under the table. She knows that in the future, there will be space for her at the table. And she knows that even if she has to have the crumbs from the table, even those crumbs will be good enough for her, will be good enough to heal her daughter. And that's what Jesus does. Jesus is amazed by her faith. There are only two people in Matthew's Gospel who Jesus says have great faith, and neither of them are Jewish. It's a Roman centurion and this Canaanite woman. We've just seen Jesus in confrontation with the Pharisees, basically saying, you don't have great faith. And here we are, like immediately after that, Jesus saying to a Canaanite woman, a non-Jewish woman, great is your faith. This is a remarkable passage and a remarkable Jesus who we follow. And it's a reminder, it points us to the fact that there is space for everyone at the table in the future. But it's also a reminder that even the crumbs from the table are good enough for us. So if we're praying for something, if we're holding out for something right now and we don't feel like necessarily we're getting it, know that persistence pays off. Persistence in prayer pays off. God loves faithful people. But also know that even the crumbs from the table are good enough.